Welcome back. Carlye Gilbert, an infection preventionist, also from Coastal Carolina, is here, and we are going to talk all about rabies today. So, obviously, I think we should start with, what is rabies?
Rabies is an infection that's caused by unvaccinated animals that bite or scratch you and can cause you to have death.
And is there a way to tell if an animal has rabies just by looking at it?
You really can't tell by looking at them, but you can definitely tell if an animal is unfamiliar to you, they seem aggressive, or if you see any animals that normally are nocturnal out during the day, that's definitely a clear indication that there's something wrong.
Yeah, I had a raccoon walk through my yard the other day in broad daylight, and I thought, you're not supposed to be here right now.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So, can humans contract rabies, and if so, how?
They sure can. They can contact rabies by a scratch, a bite, or even a lick.
Oh, really? Even so much as just the saliva can get
Yes,
to you?
ma'am.
Interesting.
Yes.
And so, obviously, we need to stay away from those animals. Is there another way to prevent getting rabies?
Vaccination is one of the top ways to protect yourself against rabies, but mostly vaccinating your animals and your livestock.
So there's places that people, if they feel like they can't afford to get their animals vaccinated, there are places they can take it to get that done for free, because that's really the most important thing in trying to prevent this from getting even worse than it is. It
is. There's free vaccination centers, and there are low-cost vaccination centers. I believe the one locally here is in Ridgeland, and it's $10.
Okay, and so if somebody should have been bitten by an unfamiliar animal, should they get tested right away for rabies, or what should they do first after they've been bitten?
If they've been bitten or scratched or even licked, you would definitely want to wash the area with soap and water right away, and we would recommend going to the nearest emergency department, where they would contact the local Department of Health and treat you for potential rabies exposure.
Okay, so even if you aren't for sure that you have it, then they can give you medicine to just in case you do.
Yes.
And if you are bitten by an unfamiliar animal, but you have the opportunity to trap that animal, should you take that animal somewhere to have it tested?
I wouldn't recommend trapping it at all. Just leave it where it is. Identify where the area is so that professionals can get to that animal and take care of them. Okay.
And you mentioned briefly that there is treatment for rabies. So what kind of treatment is that? What should somebody expect if they think they might have been exposed?
It's a series of 4 vaccinations, and when you go to your healthcare professional, they'll give you that schedule. You shouldn't miss a dose. It will null that whole series, and you do run the risk of contracting the virus.
So let's just switch gears for just a minute here, because you said you're an infection preventionist. Tell me a little bit about what that means you do, and what you do at the hospital if somebody thinks they might need your services.
So an infection preventionist is actually a person who is available within the hospital. We are a multimodality service, which means we kind of have a little bit of input on every aspect of the hospital, being construction, hospital-acquired infections. We monitor device stays, which are also in surgical site infections throughout the hospital. We also are the vessel that reports to the national and federal services all of our infection rates and viruses that are contracted through the hospital.
Okay, so you're the lady who kind of tells the CDC what's going on here in Beaufort, so they get the numbers of how we relate to the rest of the country.
Through Coastal Carolina, yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here to share with us about rabies and how not to get them, and what to do if we think we might have been exposed. And thank you for what you do at the hospital.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Carlye, and thanks to all my other guests for being part of the show today as well. Thank you to my wardrobe sponsor, SM Bradford Company and Currents, for keeping me in style. I couldn't do this without my production team of Gustavo Ratia, Jeremy Pope, Latia Nelson, and Wayne Morris. And of course, most importantly, we thank you for making us a part of your day. I'm Betsy McDaniel, and we'll see you for the next Bluffton News.